Hey, hey. Happy Sunday. Welcome everybody. How's it going? How are you guys today?
Cold. At least my wife's cold. She's always cold. It's snowing. So we're getting snow and some weather over here today. So woke up. It was a little white outside. Yeah, it's that time of year. So fortunately, I already put my Christmas lights up on the roof last week. So the other day, so I didn't have to do it in the snow. I beat it this year. That was really nice. So.
Way to go, Clark.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna Griswold this place up. It's gonna be great.
Good.
We're gonna have to see that. You're gonna have to show us live.
Yeah, yeah, that'll be great. Yeah, so there's my Christmas lights. Yeah, that'll be great. Everybody will love that. That's what everybody tunes in for. So,
yeah, for sure. Yeah. We just got the snow too here. We just started yesterday. It's supposed to get cold throughout the week. Again, I just keep going. It's okay. I got a Jeep. I'm good.
Right.
I'm good. This is like one of the first years I actually feel, well, my other car I was pretty good with, you know what I mean? But now I feel actually really secure being in this car. Because we get some pretty nasty roads around here, you know. It's not so much that, it's just that the people don't know how to drive in the winter.
Yes. We get that
what I tell people is like 4-wheel drive will get you going, but it doesn't make you stop. So
that's exactly it. That's what people have to learn.
It's like, and when you're on ice, you can drive as fast as you want as long as you're happy in the direction you're traveling, because that's the only direction you're going to go.
My gosh.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, Lynda, how are you doing?
I am so excited because I just came back from the Black Moon Paranormal Para Retreat, which was in beautiful Bala, Ontario. And it was so weird because normally in Muskoka, in Bala, which is north, there's snow at this time of the year. And there were boats on the lake yesterday.
Oh, wow.
It was insane. Absolutely insane. I mean, people are hanging their clothes on the line. It was like, what? Are you kidding me? But it was really a lot of fun because there were so many interesting people there that it was great to schmooze with like-minded minds, and just so great. You know, when it all comes together, it is absolutely wonderful. And a shout out to the ladies from Black Moon Paranormal in Orillia, Ontario, because they were cool. But honestly, I was going to tell you, you two would be fascinated because the Bala Bay Inn, which is very haunted, it used to be called the Swastika Hotel. So it's interesting when you pull up and you take a look at it. And of course, I looked at it very closely. The front of the hotel, just at I think it's just below the roof line, it was bricked in. An actual swastika was bricked in to the building and on the other sides of the building as well. And of course, throughout the years, they've tried to hide it in various ways.
Well, when was the building built?
1910.
So from what I understand, I don't know exactly the timeline on it, but from what I've understood is that the swastika actually originally was not a bad symbol. Exactly. It was originally like something of positive type of yada yada. I don't know what it is. I don't want to make anything up or say the wrong thing. But originally it was not the symbol that it represents today.
No, it was actually the Hotel of Good Luck way back when. But then, of course, that symbol got so tainted and it got such a horrible reputation that they had to change the name of the hotel. They tried to hide the swastika logo at the top of the hotel. And it has such a fascinating history. And when I walked in, it was really cool because they had this flocked wallpaper like we had in the house when I grew up. It's really cool.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it was a great retreat. And, we had such a great time. And it's so great to, you know what it's like when you're amongst people that, you really get and who get you. It's such a wonderful experience.
So was this a whole weekend or was it a one night or?
It was a whole weekend. It started out on Friday night. There was an opening ceremony, and there was the village mystic was there, Sarah Fu.
Right.
So she was there to talk about the spirits of the hotel and bringing them forth and talking about them. And then yesterday, the entire day, there were guest speakers. So there was actually, you know what? I still have the whatever it's called.
The flyer.
So it was interesting because Night Watchman investigative team were there. And then we had Sasquatch Ontario, which was really fascinating. And the Paranormal Voice, Dan Quigley, and he does a podcast. Fascinating man with a great backstory. Katie Turner was there. I did Paranormal Survivor with her.
We've met her before. We've had her on the show.
Exactly. Yeah. So there were so many interesting guest speakers. And I believe we actually left last night. But this morning, last night, Katie Turner was hosting a seance, apparently. I don't know how that went.
Okay.
But hopefully it turned out well. And today there was a sound bath and a big breakfast. And so it was quite the weekend.
That's fantastic. Sounds like lots of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, that's cool.
And then you rushed back to be with us.
Rush back to write the show, the live show that I do during the week. So yeah.
And us. Right, we got to be in there somewhere. Since I was here,
Trevor. It's not about us. It's not about us. It's not about us.
It's never about us.
No,
we're just lucky to have you, Lynda. We're glad.
Yeah. Well, as I am lucky to have you both.
Well, it's about time she admitted that,
right? Biatch sometimes. Let me tell
you. So Trevor, you've got some stuff to share with us this week.
Yeah. So my team, we've been doing some investigations out in Gooding. That's kind of one of the spots we go to, probably one of the most frequent spots that we investigate. The old tuberculosis hospital. We actually started offering public investigations. We got one coming up on the 23rd. But I was given a couple of clips by one of my team members to check out, and they're pretty cool. So I've got 2 clips to share. I believe the first one should be the 11-second one.
Yeah, I'll play that right now. If you guys can.
Now, if anybody's listening, I mean, it's always better to have headphones on. But if you turn up the volume on your computer, you can hear it. I can hear it from my computer speakers, and I don't have any it's just the basic computer speakers. But this one, it's pretty much at the beginning of the clip, and let me let you listen and see what you think.
Okay, here we go. Is it right at the end there?
It's right at the beginning.
Okay, hang on a second.
Man, it plays so much better when I just play the file instead of trying. I don't know why it's not coming across. This is so frustrating sometimes.
I actually heard it at the beginning there. Just let me try it again though. And this is saying, what are you doing?
No, we're not hearing anything on your coming through, Kathy.
Okay. So what let's try this one, see if it works on this one.
Can't hear it.
Nope.
Okay.
I love live shows. That's how it goes.
They're good, right? They're good.
You want me to try? I can try to play it on my end.
Yeah. Just turn the speakers up, I think, a bit, and then we should be able to hear it.
Well, I'm going to share my screen here, and let's see. Come back over here. I was able to do this earlier. Let's see.
Keeping my fingers crossed.
All right. Can you see my screen? I'm hoping you're going to be able to hear this. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Did you hear it?
No.
No.
Okay, let me try it again. I think I exited it. I'm a novice at this.
I need to share the audio to hear it.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to share it here.
Do you hear that?
Right there. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
The very beginning of that?
I can hear.
Do that again. Do that again.
Do that again?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. You can hear that.
Did you hear the scream?
I heard two screams.
Yeah, there's two screams there at the beginning.
Do you want it again?
Yeah, run it again.
One more time? Okay. Whoops. Oh, God. I'm telling you. Here we go.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy. Holy shit. So have you guys have never heard something like that there before? Or?
No, actually we have heard it a few times. And what's interesting that we've heard it as a disembodied voice. And it's weird because it doesn't always come across. It doesn't always, our audio recorders don't always catch it. We'll like, oh yeah, we heard that, and we'll mark it, we'll write it down. Hey, this is when we heard it, and we'll go back, review it, and it won't be there. It's really bizarre. It's a great clip, and it's nice because we've had so many investigators and other guests that have actually heard that, being able to record it and play it, so that it's that validation again, and we're really curious as to what is going on. We know that there were treatment rooms there. I don't know if the treatment for tuberculosis was super painful, or there was also a rumor of one of the nurses committing suicide there. But it's really, and who knows what has happened in there before the buildings were there anyway. So I personally believe that it is probably a residual scream that we're hearing because it happens so frequently. I think that intelligent haunts, the same thing doesn't happen over and over and over and over again. But that's it is still pretty cool and something that we haven't been able to explain at all. So
wow. Well, the other one's really cool too. Maybe we can hear that one.
The other one, so you're going to be listening for kind of a really deep, kind of a gravelly voice. We've also caught this voice a few times. This one is an intelligent haunt, an intelligent spirit. He is, he's grumpy. Let me just put it that way.
He's grumpy.
He's a grumpy fella. So what you're going to hear is a couple of my investigators. So the downstairs of this place, they've turned in kind of an entertainment area, and they had some old video games that had some wires out, and they were messing. A couple of the investigators were trying to put the wires back together because they wanted to play the video game. And so here you go.
Okay, well, we'll check this one out, right?
He says the same thing 3 times, which is really cool.
Oh God. Okay, let's see if we can hear it.
Somebody playing with this thing or no?
I think that was probably it.
I think so.
Yeah. So
oh my God.
You can hear what he says the first time. You can hear part of it the second time. It's a lot quieter. And the third one is just like, so what did he say?
It sounds like he says, stop what you're doing.
Right? That's what I heard too. So
that's what I hear.
Stop what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I've also had him tell me to get out. I'm pretty sure this is the same one that told our friend Peter to F off. So yeah, he's just a grumpy guy, he's just down there. We're just in his space, apparently. I don't know. So, but he's not afraid to speak his mind. But anyway, yeah, those were some pretty cool clips that we've recently found.
Wow. Did you want to hear it again in case people didn't hear it the first time? Let's see if we can do it again. Here we go.
There should be absolutely
Those two.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. That's so clear. It sounds like he's saying, stop what you're doing.
Stop what you're doing. You kids in your darn video games, you don't need to be playing those. You just need to get out and do some work. Go out there and hey, stop what you're doing.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a great place. So I'm really hoping. So we're going to be doing a big investigation there again in April. So Kathy, Lynda, invitation's still on the table.
Oh, I know.
You need to come down and check this place out. It's pretty amazing.
I know. I got to figure out how to get there, and I have to first take my bank account off the respirator. Just
Google Maps. Google Maps will get you here. So that part's easy. You just got to get on the road and come.
Right.
So, yeah, piece of cake.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to try. Because that place, when you talk about that place, it sounds like, A, it's really active, but B, almost like it's every time you go, something.
Yeah, you always seem to have something. Like there's always.
It is. I don't know that I've ever walked out of there without a piece of evidence.
Wow.
It is. Yeah. It's and Peter Wren, he said it best. He told me he thinks that's arguably the most haunted place in the world. I mean, he'd never set foot in a place like that. Is what he told me. It was pretty cool to hear that from him. I haven't investigated much anywhere other than here in Idaho. But to hear that from people, from somebody that goes.
Well, yeah, Peter's been all over the world investigating. So that's
So that was kind of an eye opener for me too. I mean, it's just kind of this diamond in the rough that we have out here, and we're working really hard to maintain that integrity of the place, and it's so it's great. So we're looking forward to hopefully investigating there for many years to come.
Speaking of integrity, Lynda, you did a speech at this retreat that you guys went to regarding integrity.
Yeah,
we'd love to hear more about that.
It was really interesting because when we were thinking about what we were actually going to talk about, what the topic was going to be, we figured, everybody usually talks about their experiences, why they began to be in this field, why they're in this field, yada, 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 their best pieces of evidence, yada, but they don't ever talk about investigating with integrity, because that's something that every team, I believe, needs to do and understand. And you really need to understand what it's all about. So I sort of began the presentation by saying exactly that. Nobody really talks about investigating with integrity and what it means. And part of it is, engaging with your clients, because that's a really important piece of the puzzle. You have to engage with them. You have to understand what's going on. You have to ask the relevant questions. And you also have to ask them with, love and with grace and with understanding, because so many people just race right in and take over the situation. But,
you got to listen too.
Yes, you have to listen, and you also have to be kind of, not necessarily skilled in many ways or in many topics or on many topics, but you have to know a little bit about everything, because there are people out there that have, certain religious persuasions.
Mhm.
So when you go in to do an investigation, you have to be aware of where their headspace is at, and you have to also be aware that a lot of them are terrified that you're there, and they've heard things, right? They've heard, well, if I have a paranormal investigator in my house and they're bringing equipment, things are going to get worse. So now I'm terrified because I've invited this person in my house, but I'm scared and I need them. But again, it's like a catch-22. I need
Mhm.
them, but then it's going to get worse. And how do I deal with that? And I'm really scared. So you have to have a lot of integrity. You have to understand where they're coming from, and you have to communicate effectively. You can't just railroad and barrel over everyone and do what you want to do. And that's the thing that I think is the most important when you're an investigator.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I really like that. I mean, that's living in Canada, United States, we have a lot of people that come in from countries, and the cultural differences and things like that is something that paranormal investigators need to keep in mind as well. The belief systems are in many ways, like living in South America, uh, the belief systems are very deep and ingrained in the people there. And they are very spiritual people. um, and so, coming in as a very skeptical naysayer, you're going to get turned away a lot, and they're not going to want to have you around. They want people that are more on their level of faith and belief. um, and asking the right questions is right, and asking some tough questions too. Trying to actually help people get to the bottom of what is really going on there.
Mhm.
We have a set interview that we do with clients, and we talk everything about just we want to know about their family life. When we want to know that family dynamic, how things are going. Are they, is there a lot of arguments? Are there, is things generally happy? Have there been any major changes? We ask about medications. Are you taking certain types of medications? Because some of these things can influence our minds, and and there are different medical conditions that can cause hallucinations and things like that. And of course, we always tell them that all this information that they're giving us is voluntary. It's like we're not going to not come if you're not going to tell us, like, oh yeah, I suffer from schizophrenia. They don't want to tell us. They don't want to tell us. Most people are pretty open because they want to get to the bottom of what's going on, right? But being honest and upfront with your clients sets the stage for the rest of that relationship. I mean, that very first interview on, and making sure that you're explaining that. Think about, like, if you go to a doctor, and I bet you've been to a good doctor and you've probably been to a bad doctor, right? And so, good bedside manner versus poor bedside manner. Doctors that are engaging with you, speaking with you, talking to you and not over you, or that really show that they care. Those are the doctors that you want to go to, and those are the people that are going to explain everything that they're going to be doing before they're doing it, and then as they're doing it, they're explaining it as well. And that's the approach that we try to take with our clients. And if at any time that they're becoming uncomfortable, we stop, let them ask questions. Try to smooth that over, and we just So, and I think there's a lot of teams that just want to get in there and prove that they got demons. So
it's crazy. And you know what? I mean, the integrity doesn't just stop there. I mean, and that's the thing that I also explained. It's not just the clientele, although that's really important. It's also the spirits that you're dealing with. I mean, you have to be respectful of the spirits in that location. You can't just go in there and railroad through them either. You have to be respectful. And it doesn't matter if they're telling you to F off. And it doesn't matter if they're telling you, stop what you're doing. I mean, you have to be respectful of the environment. And a lot of people don't understand that. And it's not just investigators. I mean, it's also, for example, if we're working with a psychic medium that we might take with us on an investigation, that psychic medium has to be above board. I mean, they have to be aware. They have to be, again, they have to do what they do with love, with grace, with integrity, and they have to understand that this is not a game. This is not a game.
They have to be ethical in their own practice before they can actually join a team. If there's no ethics within their own practice, then they have no business dealing with someone else. We had Chris McKinnell on the other, like, a few weeks ago, and from the Warren Foundation, and I worked with him a couple of times remotely. This was a few years ago, and not directly with the Warren Foundation, but even just even before that. And you're dealing with people all over the world internationally. You're dealing with them remotely, and you have to be in that place where you have to be very respectful to the different cultures, as we were talking about. And, you have to, there's very much that ethical practice that you've got to give to each and every client, no matter what country they're coming from, no matter what culture, race, religion, anything. You got to stay within some moral ethics. And I think that you've had some issues, haven't you, Lynda, with psychics and stuff like that. So
yes, myself and other teams as well. But I mean, it's interesting too, within all of this, you also have to understand too, that if you're going to be bullied by either spirits or the client, you have to know when to step back as well. I mean, you have to have some credibility, yes. But you also have to understand that if the client is going to bully you, or the client is going to be disrespectful, then you have to push back. Much like if the spirits are being disrespectful, you have to be respectful within that disrespect. Turn your back, walk away, and don't provoke, and don't, that's just what I'm going to say.
I totally agree. I mean, and part of it is, as investigators, we're usually going into somebody's home for one evening.
Yeah.
And if we're going in there and we are stirring stuff up and we are provoking and just trying to get our evidence and get out of there, we're leaving the family with the mess and the aftermath to deal with. And it's very unfair.
I think that a lot of these investigators, though, get this idea because of the TV shows without actually being, I think that there's way too many teams that are out there that watch Zach Bagans or, the Ghost Hunters or whoever it is, it doesn't matter, on TV, and being extremely disrespectful towards spirit in general. And it's a great fascination, the spiritual world, the paranormal world, spiritual world, whatever. It's a very fascinating world in general. But that doesn't mean that you're fit to walk into somebody's house and claim that you're an investigator when you don't have the background or any experience whatsoever. Not that you need to take a class. There shouldn't be any paranormal investigation classes. That's nonsense. But not that you should take a class or anything like that. But you should have a knowledge of equipment. You should have a knowledge of what are good ethics. What you should have a good knowledge of how do we deal with clients. All of this thing have a background of something, rather than just going, oh, I watch Ghost Hunters, twice, and I have a tape recorder, so I'm going to go to people's homes and stir shit up.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
Well, and the people need to keep in mind.
I hate to say that. But as somebody who's been doing this for dinosaur age, I don't know. Right? It annoys the flying farts out of me when you get people that are, oh, I got a set of tarot cards. I'm going to start charging people as I read my book. Wait a minute. I have to look it up. I have to look up this card. Can you just pay me $50 because I'm going to do a reading for you now? Or somebody got something right once, 10 years ago, they're a psychic, and they're charging enormous amounts, and they're like scamming these people horrifically, and it makes me really upset. And it's the same sort of thing,
And it's hard because we are not a big community. I think we were a growing community, but we're not a great big community.
Right.
And so actions of a few are going to really it affects the rest of the community. I mean, from places that we try to get into, you get paranormal investigators that are breaking in all the time, and so the teams that are trying to do things the right way, are no, we're not having it. They don't want to deal with paranormal investigators anymore. I think everybody's kind of looking for that same thing, right? It is exciting when you get that evidence. It's fun to be in those locations. We all love it. But there is a right way to go about things, and there's a wrong way to go about things. And going into somebody's home and screaming at somebody's dead grandmother because you want to get a EVP from her, it's not okay.
They're lucky they don't get hit with a broom.
Well, actually, I wish that they would. I mean, sometimes I went around and just like, you son of a, and just give them a what for, because you don't know who you're dealing with, and that's where I've taught, the people coming up through my team is like, why don't we provoke? It's because it could be somebody's family member. I don't know. I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't want to. And if it is a more malicious entity, okay, one, I don't want to ramp it up to take out its aggression on the family after we leave. And then if we do discover it is something like that, there's a way to handle that as well, that isn't going to cause future problems for the family. So, I mean, yeah.
Exactly. Well, we also had this discussion about exactly that. I mean, when do you just walk away, and what do you say if you encounter a more aggressive kind of spirit? How do you respond to that? And I mean, the general consensus in the room was that, you understand what they said to you, and like a parent or a grandparent or an aunt or whatever, you respond by saying, well, that wasn't very nice. But that's fine if you want me to leave, or well, that's fine, no problem. Why don't we just do that? And then you walk away and you go somewhere else and you handle the situation as, a mature adult would handle that situation. But you don't do anything without integrity. And that's the issue. I mean, I think that if you are a good person, you wouldn't do anything in your life without integrity. So why would you go on a paranormal investigation without integrity? That's just the way I'm looking at it. Right.
Well, the other thing is it's not just on investigations, but it's between teams. And you've had that issue. And well, you as well. We have too. We had to deal. I'll tell you, I'll start with my little story here, because I don't think I ever talked about it on the channel before. So we used to do weekly meetings, or as much weekly as we could. It wasn't always every week, because sometimes we just, it was a lot of work to put together, to be honest, right? And it was every Saturday. My son was little at the time, so it was a lot of work, right? But we did do these weekly meetings, and there was a lady there who actually had started off as kind of our medium psychic. She used to come to the meetings and stuff like that. And then, we just, discovered she was a medium, and we brought her on a few investigations and stuff. She was an older lady. Well, I don't know exactly what the issue was. We don't know. We tried to ask her. We never got one of those people that when you ask them what's wrong, they just start yelling or creating nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, you know, they don't really give you an answer. They're just like, well, you're ugly, you're stupid, you're this, you're that. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, just, that's not what I'm asking. Right?
Yep.
Anyway, so she did, I guess she wanted to start her own team, which was perfectly fine. Go start your own team. There's no competition here. We don't care. Go. We're not getting paid for this. So what does it matter if you have your own team? Go do what you want to do. Kumbaya. You know what I mean? But she turned it into like a vicious personal attack against me. And I remember it was so interesting because this was pretty much like, we just decided, you know what, if this is what this thing is going to cause, even though we were doing these weekly meetings for I think it was close to 7 years.
Wow. 7
years of doing these meetings, and it just became nonsense. And I was like, you know what? I've got better things to do in my life than drama. Like, that's not what I'm here for. This is not what I'm doing. And we just eventually just ended the meetings. I think she kind of wanted to start her own weekly ones and take our people. But again, it's everybody's choice. Go. Where do you want to go? Go here, go there. We don't give a shit. do what you want to do, right? But it was interesting because she did do a meeting at her own home, and I guess it was pretty much open to everybody. And so a lot of people came, you know, that were brand new to the paranormal field. But she spent, I was told, this is what I'd heard, apparently she spent the entire time just bashing me on a personal level. Mm-hmm. And apparently there was people that were in the audience, let's just call it, and they said, we don't even, what is this about? Because we've sat here and listened to you for half an hour bashing some poor girl who not even here to defend herself. And we don't even know who the hell she is. But you're making it sound like she's some sort of monster because you didn't get your way on a few things. And people turned around and apparently they left. They literally left. Like after they said that, people just turned around and said, we're done. We don't want anything to do with this. And I was told about it like third party, but I was so happy about it. I didn't even know the meeting was going on because I really didn't care at that point. You know what I mean? But it's amazing. Like for whatever reason, there's so much drama in the paranormal field, and I don't understand it. I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard about the Conjuring House. They've actually apparently filed charges against the owner of the Conjuring House now, and that's fascinating in itself, you know. And it's just like, why is this happening? You know, if anybody wants to know more about the Conjuring House, you can look up Jason Hawes from TAPS, his YouTube channel, and he's gone into it quite a lot, and he's given a big explanation, and he's dealt with this, and I don't know the whole story. I don't want to again repeat it third party and stuff like that, but you can go watch it yourself. It's actually really interesting. So yeah, but you've had that issue, right, Trevor? You're dealing with that right now.
Well, I mean, we've got, you know, Western Idaho Paranormal, we kind of came out of nowhere. You know, we started out super small, and then, I mean, almost immediately we just started gaining a lot of popularity. We started getting into places that nobody had been into before. We started getting invited to conferences, and we just kind of got plastered all over it. And it was great because we had small clientele, a small group of clientele, and you know, we didn't advertise, we didn't do anything. It was all word of mouth. It was really, and it's been great. Unfortunately, you know, it got back to me that the team that we had left wasn't real happy with us still, and has continued to any opportunity they get, they try to pull the rug out from under us. You know, they'll talk about how we're faking evidence, that we're no good, we're liars, we're, you know, this, that, and the other. But what's nice, you know, is, you know, kind of like, you know, you say, Kathy, is there's a lot of people out there that don't take that at face value. They'll come and find out for themselves.
Yeah.
And it is because the integrity of my team, you know, that we are able to continue to be successful and we do what we do. You know, and quite honestly, I mean, it bothers me a little bit that, that they're still hung up on whatever it is that they're hung up on. But honestly, I'm busy enough that I don't care. I've got other things. I've got other things to deal with. We're doing so much other stuff. That I'm really not concerned about it. I kind of feel bad for them because apparently that's, we've got free rent space in their heads, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was talking to one of my investigators yesterday, and she was telling me about how one of these people from that team actually infiltrated or went on one of our public investigations, which is great. We appreciate the support. But apparently they were caught snooping in areas that they weren't supposed to be snooping in. And my investigator kind of cornered them and was like, hey, what's going on? And they kind of tried to come up with an excuse. And fortunately, we knew who they were and where they were from and pointed that out and was like, look, if you want to investigate, awesome. Investigate, have a good time. If you're here trying to do something else and if you're trying to mess something up or make us look bad some way, we're just going to boot you and that's it.
Yeah.
And, and that's where we left it. They went on about and did their investigation and everything was hunky-dory after that. So I don't believe in bad mouthing other teams. I don't understand why, kind of what are we gaining from it? In my opinion, they're making themselves look bad. I've had people come up and tell me, and they're like, yeah, they just don't seem like a very happy group. All they do is they were talking bad about you guys. We don't see that. That's, you guys aren't like that at all, and it's like, well, hey, they do what they do and we just do what we do. And
sometimes you just need to let them run their mouth. And you know what? The ones people with that have ethics will take a look at stuff themselves and they will go, okay, you know what? I'm not seeing that from this particular team or this particular person or whatever. The only, I think sometimes the only time we really need to stand up and say anything is if it becomes a legal issue or an issue where, it is going to cost money. Like, let's say that person that snuck into a different place decided that they were going to cause some sort of physical damage. That could be a serious issue,
Yeah,
and it's sad because even here, in Edmonton, we've had several places that now refuse. I don't know where they are right now because our team hasn't investigated for a while, but we just don't do investigations anymore. We're kind of like not there, but it was to a point where a lot of places weren't allowing investigations because of previous bad investigators.
Yeah.
And so they'll be like, we're just not doing it. And thankfully, we did have a really good reputation that we were able to go to some of these places that had previously said absolutely not. But the nice part is that they had contacted us. It wasn't us contacting them.
Yep.
And they had come to us and said, look, we would really like, this done. Or even for Fort Edmonton Park here in Edmonton a few years back, we were actually the consultants for their Spooktacular for Halloween, which is a massive event here for the Fort Edmonton for the fort, right? And so it's one of the biggest Halloween events here in the city, and we were able to be the consultants, and we had so much fun. But they again it comes back to, we hear really good things about you. We know we can trust you. We know that you can come into this place, and we're not going to worry about it.
Yep. Yeah. And that's kind of in my experience as well, is like, we have places that are reaching out to us, which has been great. It's like, and we jump on the opportunities as they come along. And the thing that also, that I would stress to those people that are thinking about doing their own paranormal teams or they're running paranormal teams and stuff like that, I have no problem when people, like, if they want to question evidence that we post, I encourage it. I think it makes us all better. When people say, hey, now wait a minute, I'm not sure that that's correct. Cool. We weren't able to explain it. What I can do for them is I have the entire investigation recorded on video, audio. I will give it all to whoever wants it. You can have all 600 hours of footage and audio that you can go through at your leisure. Here are the important parts that you're going to want to listen to, where, you know, the questions are. But if you want to do your due diligence and make sure that we're not faking anything, here you go. Here's it all, you know. So and we offer that, you know, anybody that says, hey, you know, I think this was faked. Cool. Well, here's all the raw footage. You can go through it and check it out for yourself. We have no problem with that at all. So again, you know, I'm 100% confident in what our team does, because our team does have that integrity. We do the right thing when nobody's looking. That's the very definition of integrity, is when you do those right things.
So I'm going to ask you guys something. Tell me about. I'm just going to switch it up a little bit here. I'm just going to switch it up. Tell me about the funniest thing that's ever happened when you guys were on an investigation. Something that you just
already.
something that you're just like, the hell?
I got a good one. Yeah, I got one. Well, because he's listening, because he's on. My good friend Mike Clough, he's in the audience right now. So Mike is one of my he is one of my most favorite people on the planet. He is one of the nicest men you'll ever meet. Very genuine. He has a very loud voice. He really projects himself. In fact, when my tech Pete and Mike get together, we have to kind of try to separate them, because once they get talking, the entire investigation is over. You know, we hear them all the time. Anyway, so we were actually, this was a long time ago, we were doing a public investigation out in Baker City, out at the historic Geyser Grand Hotel. And I had a group that I was leading. Mike had a group that he was leading. Mike was supposed to be off in the other side of the hotel at the banquet room, and my team was in the dining room area. And so we should have been far enough apart that we weren't stepping on each other's toes. Anyway, so we're doing our investigation. My team's sitting down. We're being quiet. We're doing our little EVP session. All of a sudden, I hear Mike talking. I'm like, why am I hearing Mike talking? He's being really loud. Well, there's an entrance to the kitchen that comes off the banquet room, and the kitchen kind of horseshoes around into the dining room area. And all that separates the dining room area from the kitchen is a curtain. And so now they're in just on the other side of this curtain, and Mike is, you know, and he's talking, he's doing his thing. And he's doing a good job. He's, having fun with it, and he's doing his EVP. And I'm walking over to the curtain to tell him, hey, we're right here. You need to, and he makes this statement: if you can hear my voice, knock loudly 3 times. And I couldn't resist. So I pounded on the wall right next to him. Bam, 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 3 times. This is the first time and the last time in my life I have ever heard Mike drop the F-bomb. I mean, he was, what the fuck? And it was, and I flung up the court. I said, could you be quiet? It was. Yeah. What was great? It was a few investigations later, he got me back. It was one of those nights where nothing had happened that we could tell. It was just quiet. Everybody was tired. I was now in the banquet room with my guests, and I was just, I was the only one trying to do the EVP session. The rest of the guests, everybody else, I think, was falling asleep. And I kept thinking I was hearing a noise over in the doors that go to the kitchen. They're just those double push doors that swing back and forth, And so I was like, hey, just focus your energy and push those doors open. Now I'm going to count to 3 and you just do it. And I went 1, 2, 3, and those doors came flying open. And I about fell out of my chair. And it was Mike just coming through the so.
That's hilarious. I still have a big mouth.
It's good times. We've investigated for a lot of years together. We have a lot of fun. So yeah.
Oh my God.
Funny. How about you, Lynda?
Well, I actually did an investigation a very long time ago with a team from Montreal, and it was a really great investigation, except of course nothing happened. But prior to the investigation, we all went out to dinner to a Mexican restaurant.
Oh no.
And we all paired up and were in different areas of the house, and nothing was happening. And of course, we were all getting bored, and everything happened. As you can imagine, one person started, and then the other person started, and it ended up that we were just all killing ourselves laughing. And the investigation came to an abrupt end. And that was probably the funniest thing, because the first person who did it didn't tell anybody that they were going to do it. So, of course, when it happened, somebody said, "Did you hear that? What was that?"
Did they get a horrible smell of sulfur?
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. But it was really funny. And it turned out that, I mean, really, we weren't getting much evidence anyway.
Yeah.
But, it was evident that what we ate didn't agree with any of us. So
it's like everybody's digestion kicked in all at the same time.
Oh, yes. And if they're listening to this, they will know who they are.
It's too funny.
Oh,
We had I remember we were doing this investigation in this house, and we were in this one bedroom, and we were using EMF meters. And, we were just basically, me and the partner, we were doing, we were saying, if you're here, come closer, because the light, make the lights go higher, right? Show us all the light, and then back up. And this thing was doing that exactly. Like we would say, step closer so that the lights will light up. Sure as shit, this thing came up. It was like all lights. And we were like, okay, this is pretty cool. So then we started asking, that was not me.
Was it an echo?
I don't know. Maybe. We'll have to play that back at some point. But so then we started asking who they were, what it was, or, that sort of thing. And we weren't really getting any response. Like, are you, somebody's relative? Are you this? Are you that? Step closer, light up the EMF, nothing. And we're going through, all of this stuff. So then I said, well, are you demonic? Well, all of a sudden, lights up. Holy, you've never seen anyone cat jump onto the ceiling, like literally. My partner falls off the bed. He's laughing so freaking hard on the other side of the room. He's just like rolling. He starts rolling. Laughing, you can't hold it in. I'm just about in tears. I don't know if I should be like scared or like, but it was like, turns out it was our walkie-talkies.
Oh, no.
They were like, come on down. Come on.
Timing is everything. It's everything.
Yes.
I tell you, I didn't like, when you're like laugh crying so hard you can't even breathe, like literally I couldn't even walk down the stairs. It was so funny. It's just like,
that's hilarious.
Oh yeah. But I mean, up until that point, we were getting some pretty good, and I'm not a big EMF person. Like I'm not one of those people that, really goes for the whole EMF. I mean, I don't think really anybody does for that. But in this instance, it was responding. There was response to it, right? So, yeah, when we asked that, I did not expect that.
Oh man,
it was so. And then, but it's funny too, because when you're tired. So another time, I remember we were so tired. It was one of those investigations where you go after you worked all day, you're just exhausted, you're not thinking like a proper person. What I mean? And
eyes are sitting there going crossed while you're trying to stay awake,
Yeah, and it's things that we've done on the monitors here, where we're pointing at the monitor. See right over here, you see that, and that's exactly what I did several times on different investigations, like pointing at something and being like, you see, it's right there. Do you see that? And it's like,
it's pitch black.
it's like
where you're pointing.
No one else can see this but you.
I've had investigators do that. Where are you looking? Over there. Over where? What are you talking about?
It's right there. Don't you see it?
We are all looking over there somewhere. You know, you always get that question. It's like, you know, what scares you the most about paranormal investigations? It's always the living. They're the only ones that ever make you jump. They're the only ones that ever, you know, it's true. I love it. Those are the stories that keep you coming back. Right? So that's
yeah.
Fortunately, the stuff that I think that we were talking about earlier, I mean, it is negative and stuff, but it's not. It doesn't define who we are and what we do, you know, because it is a small subset of people.
Exactly.
The majority of us are out there. We're having fun, but we're also doing things the right way. We're doing things the good way, you know. And I think the field is progressing in a good direction for sure.
It is, and I mean, you know, the thing is, the veil is getting thinner. So there is a lot more activity that's been happening, or maybe we're just in a place where we're paying more attention to it rather than it happening more often. I think it's just that we're not as dismissive as maybe we used to be 10, 15 years ago, right? And it doesn't have such a bad reputation anymore. Now people can talk about ghosts. They can talk about their experiences without being the crackpot at the end of the block where all the kids avoid, or peek in the windows to make sure that you're not cutting up bodies, you know. So it's like,
yeah. Well, you know, it's
cover all my windows with Bisqueen. They can't see a thing.
I know. What's interesting, the big takeaway from this past weekend, after speaking with all of those amazing people, was that, you know what, in this field, you're right, it's progressing for sure. But the takeaway is that you've got a couple of factions, right? You've got the actual paranormal investigators, right? And you have the gratuitous ghost hunters. So that's the problem, is that you've got these two different camps, and that's the issue, right? Are you a gratuitous ghost hunter who wants the evidence and you know, all that crap, or are you a paranormal investigator? So and people will disagree. They'll say, yeah, well, what's the difference? There's a difference. And that's the thing, right? That's the thing. That was my big takeaway. Which one are you?
I think, you know, we were talking about like different religions, different cultures, you know, and things like that. And I was just, you know, for some reason this popped into my head because you were talking about the ghost hunters, and you know, and some of these ghost hunters, you know, they're not willing to listen. They're not willing to listen to the client. And again, it goes back down to, you know, there are people that, for instance, might not want all of the electronic gadgets in their home.
Yeah.
There are going to be the ones that absolutely, like for me, for instance, I don't care what anyone else's takeaway is on a Ouija board. It's not coming into my house. Right. I don't care if you have your entire bedroom plastered with Ouija boards and you know, sing Kumbaya to them every night. It's not coming into my fucking house. That's me. Right. That's me. For my personal reasons, which I don't need to fight with anybody on because it's my home.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
But there are a lot of teams, you know, that they don't listen to the client, and they will bring something in, or they will sneak something in, and we've dealt with that, you know, especially when you've worked with different teams or whatever, or the clients that have tried to sneak stuff in.
Yes.
You know, while you're trying to do an investigation, right? And then you have the clients that are trying some nonsense at the same time. So it goes both ways, but it basically comes down to have respect for each other.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. There's no reason why you can't. You don't even, you know, it's like, you know, there's people that you work with that you don't want to hang out with every day, right?
Yeah.
You don't mash on a personal, you can still be respectful.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, cordial, you can be respectful, you know, and you know, and again, it's like if for some reason I was going to accuse somebody of being dishonest, or, you know, it's like, you know, no, that's fake, I'm going to have proof. right? I'm going to have,
it's not just tossing out nonsense. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not just going to be, well, they're just fake.
Yeah.
Oh, they're terrible. They just break enter places. That's what I've heard. You can't, it's ridiculous. I mean, now we're mainstream media. So it doesn't, they can crap up and make somebody else look bad, and we don't care who suffers for it.
Exactly.
It's silly. It doesn't make any sense to me. But again, anybody that is happening to, that sucks. I'm sorry. You're not the only one out there that happens to. Just ignore it and move on. That's my best advice, is don't focus on it. Just be busy, that's what we are. We're just busy, and we love it. So I'm looking forward to the 23rd. We're going to go back out to Gooding and have a good old time. So.
Woohoo! Hey, so we're always looking for guests for the show. So if you are somebody who has a team or has a paranormal experience, or would just like to, share something with us, by all means, send us a message on our Facebook group, Paranormally Speaking, and please make sure that you are subscribed to our channel. And we are on Twitch under Paranormally Speaking. So please, guys, follow us there too. You can follow us everywhere. You follow us here, follow us there. You can follow us everywhere.
Please stalk us.
Please do.
Right. So we will see you guys next week, and have an amazing week. Take care, everyone. And we'll see you again.
Bye.